We were missionary pastors on Saipan, which is, still part of the United States, but out in the middle of nowhere in the Pacific Ocean. That was one of the things that was a big influence. We had a lot of my friends went into the mission field. A lot of them went into China and places like that. And when the opportunity came up for us to even think about it, that was pretty heavily influenced from some of our professors. And but even just going into the pastorate, one of the greatest things we learned, or me specifically, I know, was reaching out to someone individually, and that's been a lifesaver in ministry, and going forth to serve. And so that's
and I just feel like that, again, with that individual attention to the students, and even coming from other students, you can get a degree on paper and still know nothing about actually applying that. But I feel like the experiences we had on campus through different activities we did, conversations, and even hearing the professors' stories and where they've been, it prepares you a lot more for getting out there and actually serving. And I feel like there was a lot of experiences on campus that forced us to kind of get out of our comfort zones or learn or apply it on the spot, whether it would be leading a service for the chapel or anything like that. You're having to practice what you're learning. I
am a second generation OCU graduate, but so we were known. It was known to me, and when looking for a place to go, I met with recruiters, and we talked about it, and I got great scholarships and great grants. And on top of that, I was looking for someplace smaller. I went to a fairly large high school, and where we had 30, 40 kids in a classroom, and coming to a place that was more like 10 or 15 kids in a classroom was really appealing at the time, and I think I benefited from it.
My story is a little more interesting with the fact that I grew up in Pennsylvania. We actually don't have any General Baptist churches there or anything. I grew up in a Christian Missionary Alliance church, and when I started praying about where to go, I really felt God pushing me towards here, which I was the homebody of my family, so no one understood why I said I was going to go somewhere out of state. But in a nutshell, that's what it was. I kept praying, and every time God pointed me here, and I finally convinced my parents to come check it out. And when we did, we just felt instantly at peace about it. I felt at home. My parents felt great about the decision, so I never even looked anywhere else. God picked it for me. So
I'm a second generation, but both my parents met here. And they were here in a time when the school was not doing so well financially. That was before Dr. Murray had come, and at least my mom. And then my dad came 2 years after my mother, and so they met here, and it was always mentioned in the house. And like I said, growing up General Baptist, I'm a third generation GB pastor, and so it's always been around, whether it was called Oakland City College or Oakland City University later, and it was always kind of one of those things that, again, it was kind of like a piece of home. Like we recognize that as a piece of our heritage, but on top of that as well, it's our school. It's our place. It's as General Baptist, we don't have another college or anything stateside. There's a Bible college that we help support in the Philippines, but it's not Oakland City. It's not. It wasn't the first one. It was not the main campus. So I think it's very vital for our movement to have a place where we can raise up leaders and raise up people to go forth and serve.
Even coming from a different state or different denomination, I was welcomed in, and it wasn't like closed off. But I think it is really important now that we're raising our children. There's something special about that, like he said, kind of passing on the torch in a sense, and that's what we want for our kids as well, just that place that we know they're getting the same values, the same things that we appreciate about that.
As a senior in high school, I wasn't a straight A student, so I was worried about what kind of scholarships, how to pay for it, and we talked about military service in my family, like how to make sure we get paid for it, and then we met with the financial aid department, and it was part of it was because I'm General Baptist and was a member of a General Baptist church, and so I got that scholarship, and that was the biggest one I could get, and so I jumped on it, and I thought there's There's no other way I'm going to get a private school education, and I'm not going to get a scholarship for that, for the same academic scholarship. So that GB scholarship really paid off for me.
Yeah, and for me, especially coming out of state, and I was homeschooled as well, so I wasn't sure what options there were for scholarships. So I remember looking through a lot, but I applied for the music scholarship, and that got me quite a significant amount to cover that. And between that and grants, I really didn't owe a whole lot in debt getting to come here. And I would say that, again, the staff here, the teachers here, everyone is looking out to get you in the right place. They're not just here to get the numbers on a page of saying how many students are here, but they want you to succeed.